Transition. Hello there. Welcome to the Could You Survive the Movies live stream director's commentary for a zombie movie. Very excited to have you here. Very excited to be here. And as always, my name is Jake Roper. I am the creator, producer, co-writer, director, host of Could You Survive the Movies. And this is Eric Langley.
Hi.
Who is
the DP, visual effects supervisor, and visual effects artist, and co-director of Could You Survive the Movie Season 2.
So, I know a lot of you have been here before. You know the rules, you know what we do. But for those that are new to this live stream, basically what we do is we talk through an entire episode of Could You Survive the Movie. So if you haven't watched a zombie movie yet, there's a link at the top of the description so you can check it out yourself without two dudes just talking through it the whole time, because we will talk through a vast majority of it.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of pausing.
A lot of pausing, a lot of transitions. But you know what? It's going to be a fun time. We're going to have some laughs. Eric's going to cry.
I might.
He usually does. That's one of his main things.
Yeah.
He's really good at it. Just cries on command.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a link to the Vsauce 3 Discord in the description. That's for you, Winger. I know you're excited about that. See, Winger just even said it. And the link to the Vsauce 3 Discord is right there in the description. So, hey, how's everyone doing today? How's life? How are things?
What's the tea?
What's the tea? Yeah, spill the tea.
What's the
Sebastian's
Discord?
back. Got a different episode. System Castaway. We actually did consider System Castaway. But we didn't do
so
it.
much fun.
That would be a fun one.
Just us on a deserted island? Sounds great.
We could have, who's that creator that we really like? The Australian dude who just, there's no talking. Primitive technology. Primitive Technology could be in it. That'd be a fun
he
collab.
stopped making videos, didn't he? I think he's doing a series or something.
Hopefully he's still alive.
No.
Maybe the wild took him. We'll never know.
And it's Australia.
Parker, thank you very much. That is nice of you to say. Hello from Prague. Jan, hello from us to you. Or is it Jan? We don't know. No one knows. It's a mystery. Jan. What else is going on in the chat? Hello from Israel. Hello. Oh, Pyra's here. Sorry, Pyra, let me mod you real quick. Pyra's also a mod in the Vsauce 3 Discord.
You think you could grow out a beard and long hair fast enough for Castaway?
Yes.
You could?
I think I could. So one fun little bit of trivia is before we do a season of System, I always grow out my beard and my hair. Just in case. Just in case we need it for a character.
On which movie we're doing.
The issue always is, because I knew we were starting with this, so this is actually the first episode we filmed.
Yeah.
Was a zombie movie. That was the first episode we filmed this season. So I actually had a really big beard and very unkept hair. Because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look like I've been living the apocalypse for years.
Yeah.
Issue is, we film a lot of episodes not in order. So it'd be like, okay, we film most of Zombie, then we have to film the science beats.
Right. Which could take place a month later.
Yeah, a month later. And I wouldn't have a beard anymore because I had to shave it for Top Gun.
Yeah.
So couldn't do it. And we couldn't afford fake facial hair either. Turns out that's very expensive.
Yeah. To look good.
I wanted the Nick Cage wigs, but they couldn't give them to me.
Hey, that's his real hair.
Madeline, thank you. It's very nice. Hello, Jeff. So, let's System Saw. That would be a good one.
That would be fun.
I would love to.
How would we make...
I'd love to. I mean, the thing
without
is...
showing blood.
You wouldn't be able to survive the traps. That's kind of the point of those traps.
True.
But it would be fun to build them in real life.
That would be fun.
And see what they would do on some ballistics dummies.
That'd be brutal.
That'd be pretty cool. The reverse bear trap. That'd be awesome. Oh, Damien, you're looking great. You're all looking great. Just beautiful, elegant creatures that you are. Would you like to compliment them as well?
Beautiful creatures that you are. I mean, I just kind of tagged.
Yeah, you removed one of my descriptors, but that's okay. Okay, let's get into... Oh, look at this. Mr. Cyanide. As a VFX artist, I really appreciate the artistry and the makeup and everything else, of course. Well, there you go.
FX artist.
FX artist. Lavi, where do you get ballistics dummies? There is a company here in California that provides all of our ballistics dummies for us. They've been doing it
same one, right?
Since Home Alone. But they make really good... they also made the ballistics dummies for Mythbusters. They're very good at it.
Yeah.
So that's who we use. All right. Let's get going. Joshua, I said your name. There you go. That's your present. Your birthday present. Let's get into it. We're going to see how long it takes for us to transition.
Oh, out of it?
Out of it. I think our record was... Last time, it was 18 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Until we paused. So let's get into this. Director's commentary. Could you survive a zombie movie and Transition. A zombie movie.
Just A.
Just a zombie film. And here we go.
WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we're deeply concerned by the alarming levels of
One benefit of the
spread and
pandemic
severity.
is that we had a lot of great newsreel footage to pull
Delay
from.
Yep.
the spread of the disease.
Quite believable.
People
Thanks,
must
Boris.
stay at home.
Ooh, okay, do you want to talk about this shot, Eric?
Sure.
Okay. We're going to hold on to this shot for a second while Eric tells you about
Oh, I wish I had the original.
this one.
Yeah.
Well, you can just describe what the original shot
Yeah,
looked
so that is. I mean, we loved the makeup. There was things we didn't think we were allowed to do as far as makeup, like too much gore and blood. So this intro shot, his face is completely different. He just looks like a normal guy with some like a little bit of blood and a little bit of decaying. But since its intro shot is completely visual effects, like every part of it, we decided to replace his face with, this is a 3D model I kind of posed in the same way as this guy laying on the hood, and I just kind of power pinned his face. There's this new feature in Mocha called Power Mesh, and it's amazing. It basically just wraps an image onto fabric, or for instance, this guy's face, and it just sticks there. It looks so cool.
Yeah, this is a great effect because it honestly looks real. Like, it does look like a makeup effect. But this is his nose missing,
Yeah.
the degraded mouth, even the color of his eyes was
Yeah.
all done by Eric in post.
There's
Go.
also a drone reflection in that hood.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
The hardest part was that when he turns his head, he turns
Yeah.
90 degrees, but Power Mesh stuck it right on there. It was great. This was quite difficult.
So yeah, let's chat about this for just a moment. The first thing I want to point out before we transition is the graffiti that is on the side of the mall right there. That was not there. That Eric added that also.
It was originally much, much bigger, but I thought it'd be cooler if
Yeah.
it was a little more subtle.
But that's a reference to 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
The end is nigh. And then Monroeville Mall, that's also a digital ad right there. That is the name of the mall from Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead. And then the entire city in the background doesn't exist. That is completely added in visual effects. And here's another fun note. And we'll switch back to our camera in a second. I just want to point this out. Where my cursor is right now,
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to be right there.
Yeah.
I was standing on top of the roof with binoculars because the intro to this episode was actually different. And to get into that, let's transition. So, the original intro for this was how it is currently, but as the camera tilts up to reveal this backdrop, all this stuff, I was on top of the mall with binoculars.
Right above the sign.
Right above the sign. I turn, camera cuts to me on top of the mall. We see the zombies in the parking
That
lot
was
walking
cool.
around.
Yeah.
And I'm just basically doing my intro. Like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's get inside. And then we cut to this drone shot really high above, pointing down at the top of the mall of me walking. I had this huge shadow that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then the camera tilted up to really reveal the cityscape being destroyed.
Yeah.
We ended up removing that because it just kind of slowed things down. Like, we had this really fun intro.
Yeah.
And then it just gets slow.
Yeah.
So we cut that out. And in doing that, Eric had to digitally erase me from this intro shot right here. Digitally erase me there.
Transition.
Sorry, thank you. And that's also why once we leave here, we cut to just the interiors of the mall and we hide my audio where I say, like, hey, I'm Jake, because we didn't have me on camera saying that anymore inside the mall. And that's how we did it.
And I'm so glad that I didn't have to do 2 shots of the city being destroyed. That was nice.
That is nice. All right, let's get back into it, gang.
Yeah, the leaves in that tree were the hardest thing to get rid of.
And this was filmed in actually an abandoned Sears.
Yeah.
So it was connected to a mall.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's 30,000 square
Yeah,
feet.
30
I don't know about you, but
So
before
that,
being
like,
trapped
audio,
in
reason we don't see me
apocalypse
say it
of
is
the
because
undead,
I didn't actually say it.
I had 2 loves in
Jake,
my
where'd you
life:
come from?
science
Corner?
and
Yep.
movies.
I just
So
came from a
decided
corner.
to put myself on my favorite kinds of horror films, zombies,
It was
to
a
learn
very large space.
how does a virus
to make look.
actually work,
Yeah.
and more
abandoned.
importantly, could you survive?
And also we had to frost
the
that glass
genre?
behind me
Could you survive
because you would have
a
just
deadly
seen, like,
microscopic
a mall
pathogen,
parking lot
Yeah.
having
with
your
cars.
limbs torn off by a zombie, and a viral
Meat juice.
global pandemic? Hey, I think this can of meat might
Oh.
still be good. Think fast.
That's funny. So this was our first shot of the season, and right when we pulled the camera up to start shooting the Ronin, which is the the gimbal rig which holds the camera, broke. Like literally the first shot, which was not a great way to start. So the reason why this, you'll see up here, the pull-out camera is so shaky is because we had to jerry-rig the camera back onto the rig. It was really fun.
Also, I'd like another thing I want to point out is just our meat can that just says meat. I like. Winger asked a good question. Speaking of zombie apocalypse, how hard was it working with that many extra precautions you have to take? Let's transition for 1 second. So that's a great question, Winger. Since this was our first episode that we filmed, Eric and I had yet to film a production of this scale during a pandemic, so we didn't really know what to expect. We knew going into it that we wouldn't get as many extras as we normally would.
Right.
I think we were limited to 6.
Especially for a zombie film.
Yeah. And there was a lot of things that had to happen. So we'll point these out as shots progress, but we could only have 6 extras in total, and they couldn't be very close to us because everyone would have to not be wearing masks.
Yeah.
So there's certain shots. There's one a little bit later where the zombies are eating a pretzel guy, and the reason we framed it the way that we did is because the zombies that are right next to him are actually wearing masks, and their heads are facing, the back of their heads are facing us, so we can't see them wearing masks.
Yeah.
When we do the shot where we show Matt and all the zombies are behind him, we just did forced perspective, so they're actually further from him than they look. But we had all these issues where like we couldn't have that many people near other characters and other actors
Without
masks on.
Yeah.
So it made it difficult.
We talked about getting like the masks that look like your face,
Yeah.
as zombie, but it was never going to look good.
Yeah. So that was part of the issue.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, what up, Sam? Okay, let's get back into it.
Zombie movie without transition. Zombie movie without extras. It's a real bad throw, Jake.
It was a bad throw. I've never been known for my sports ability.
Could you survive a zombie movie?
That's cool. I think it adds to
It fits the
it. Yeah, it
aesthetic.
does.
Ooh, this was a custom, the hand Eric did. Looks real good.
I like that.
This was a fun one. This was a see-through gate. That's just paper covering it to make it look like it's
Okay,
solid
that
metal.
was totally my fault.
So this
But the
was
good
an
news
active
is those
mall,
guys out there
too,
seem pretty
which was
slow,
also
so
very
I think
difficult.
Yeah, so we
could
couldn't
probably
film
outrun
in the
them,
mall
which
proper
is great because if I've
until
learned
after 6
anything
p.m. I think
Yeah.
when the mall
the dozens
closed.
of zombie movies that I've
So
watched,
that's why the lights
it
are
only
on
takes
and-
one
Yep.
bite, sometimes just a scratch, for you to become infected. Wait, you weren't bit or anything, right?
Oh,
Okay,
look
I
at that.
think
That's
so.
some
I was
good
just
acting.
checking.
Camera acting, Aaron. That's
It
not
looks
real.
like we're dealing with the classic slow-moving zombie, which was
Oh, you didn't
common
make
in
it?
films
No,
from the
I'm gonna
60s,
be editor.
70s, and 80s. And
Doing
they were
good,
more of a
Sam. How are
metaphor
you?
for things like mindless consumerism. But then that changed in the 2000s with 28 Days Later and World War Z,
I remember being
where the
really
zombie
hard.
movie became
Oh,
more
because
of a
the
metaphor
gimbal
about
was broken.
Yeah, gimbal was
viruses.
broken.
The
So
zombie
it's kind of like
itself
bouncy.
became this fast-moving, bloodthirsty, rage-filled
Also, like we're
beast.
shooting through
Yeah.
Which
racks
got me
right here.
thinking,
I think it was on a 50 millimeter.
could a
too.
virus actually turn you into a zombie? And how exactly could that happen?
That's tension, the bounciness.
That's an unused shot from a later section
If
that
we're
we
going
cut
to
out.
look at
Yeah.
the science
we'll
of
talk about when we
viruses,
get there.
first off, we should establish that there is no such thing
One thing I
as
like
a
about
zombie
these
virus as
scenes,
portrayed in the
let me
movies.
turn down
but
the
viruses
audio
do
for a second.
behave like cinematic
One thing I like about
zombies
the system
in
lab, as we
several
call it,
ways.
is that you can
The most striking
see
is that viruses are not
experiments and demonstrations from
alive.
other
They only
episodes.
exist by
Like the
hijacking
cauldron
the
from
host
Harry Potter's
and
behind
using
me
it
that we
to
ended
make
up
more
never using,
copies
actually.
of itself.
You can already see the rig, the rip off the
Although
arm in the
most people
background.
think of viruses as
Like, I love
germs
that
or
you
can
get a
bugs
taste
like
of what's coming
bacteria.
up.
They're just packets of DNA or RNA surrounded by a coat of fats or proteins.
Just follow Eric, the cameraman never
And
gets
like a
caught or
zombie,
hurt.
they
That's
can't
true.
reproduce on their own.
Did you make this
Instead,
graphic?
viruses seek
Nope.
out cells in a living
That was
host to start
I was gonna
replication,
compliment it,
whether
now that you
through
didn't
an
make
open wound, insect bite,
No, that was a
or most
stock.
commonly, inhalation.
Ah, that was just Eric shoving a probe lens down my throat.
Yeah, it's in the
Cells
behind the
have surface
scenes.
receptors, like a
And I
It's
had
not
to
an
do it-
easy shot.
I had to do it so many times.
Yeah.
nutrients to attach
Pulling
to.
focus
A virus
on
uses
that
those
lens is
receptors
very
to grab
difficult.
a cell and dig inside of it. Once it's there, it releases its DNA or RNA packet.
That's such a cool
That
graphic.
virus DNA
I don't-
then
is that a
uses
graphic? Is
the
that real?
cells
Is that
to
real?
build
It's
copies
real.
that burst from the cell
That's a graphic.
and infect other cells.
Not a very
Another
good one.
diabolical thing that viruses do is force their host
Oh,
to help it
the
spread.
sneeze.
Yeah, everyone cleared out, and it was just Jake and I. I was on the Phantom.
Yep.
Because spitting during COVID is...
But I want to talk real quick about the sneeze, because this was a fun one for everyone besides me. I really wanted to do a real transition. I really wanted to do a real sneeze, so I just snorted pepper. I snorted so much pepper.
Yeah, it was about a good 5-10 minutes of you
Yeah.
trying to make yourself sneeze.
I snorted pepper, then I got tweezers, and I started pulling out nose hairs.
All the while I'm sitting there on the Phantom, like waiting for it. It's like, is he gonna do it? No, it took a while.
Yeah, I tried to like bop my nose. Nothing worked.
No.
So I just had to fake a sneeze. So I just put a little bit of liquid in my mouth and just basically spit it out. But it looks good enough. But yes, there was pepper in my nose for days. It was not enjoyable.
It was pretty funny. I mean, not for you.
Yeah, not for me, but you got to do what you got to do for content. It's all about content, gang. All right, let's get back to the content with transition.
Well, I am sorry about that. That was
Cactus.
pretty gross.
We
I
make
should've
some of them.
covered
Other
my
times
mouth.
there's existing like actual scientific
Yeah.
footage that we use.
And so, it's faster to get stock if it already exists than for me to custom make it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's good, we use it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Shelby.
Jake, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you.
Hey, Shelby! It's Shelby!
It's so good to see you too.
Have you been out there? It's insane. I mean, I know they're slow, but they're
This is
relentless.
the last shot
But you
of the
seem
episode.
to avoid
This
them pretty
was-
well. You didn't get bit or anything, right? You didn't
Yeah, no, it's.
That's
I was
the fun
just,
thing,
shopping
like,
at the umbrella.
even though this is in the
suddenly
beginning,
there
this
a
was
horde of
literally the last thing we
zombies.
filmed.
How'd
Yeah.
they get in here anyway?
get. Oh, I have no idea.
Well, I was thinking about heading to the upper level.
And this scene was actually a little bit
higher
longer.
ground and all
We had
that.
some
Oh,
jokes
yes,
about
higher ground. That's a
the food
that's
court
a good idea.
and getting some like Panda Express or something.
Hey, you coming?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Foreshadowing?
It's crazy.
That
how
is
quickly
called
the
foreshadowing.
Spread. I
This
mean,
room
This
so
was a
cool.
cool one.
Modern zombie movies
This was
are
just
really
in
an
the mall,
allegory
up in
for
the
a
service
fear
or in
of a
the air conditioning
pandemic.
unit.
Yeah, this is the air
The world
conditioning.
is easier to
So those are all
navigate,
air
easier
conditioning
to
filters behind us.
explore.
There's a
Yeah,
wall of
just a
them.
wall.
That fear becomes more of
And
a
it makes such a nice
reality
soft
than
light too. I
fiction.
love the way this
Right,
scene
well,
looks.
older zombie films were more of an epidemic, where the disease was isolated to a smaller area like a single town or country. But modern zombie movies focused on the outbreak as a pandemic, something that spreads
We're actually
globally.
gonna pause and just
You know,
moment
it's a
after
lot to
this
think
scene.
about. It's very interesting.
It's very
Because
interesting.
there's a missing
I'd
scene
love
in
to
this
think
episode.
about
I
it
love that.
somewhere
Oh, yes.
That
else.
shot
keep
right there is
moving,
so
yeah, 'cause
cool.
There's zombies and
Yeah, I
Perfect
know.
cinematography.
Science and it's
Oh.
fun, but we've got other
Thanks,
stuff
Jay.
to think
Scoot,
about
Rhett,
right
yeah, I'd love to
now.
get Rhett and
Let's
Link.
go.
I'd love to get
You know,
PewDiePie.
zombies really love brains. And a brain has 2,500 calories.
So this scene
Oh yeah.
was actually a lot longer.
Yeah.
This one was a very complicated shot that I was very happy about. But
Yeah.
basically,
Took a toll on my body too.
it did. But basically, what that scene was originally was after we leave that door in the air conditioning room, we then cut to that shot we saw earlier of the one zombie in the security camera who's brains.
Is it Bub?
That's our bub zombie, yeah, from Day of the Dead. He comes in, does that. It's that shot. He walks in and goes, brains, walks past the camera. We kind of move in a little bit. Shelby and I pop up from behind a couch. And then we walk through this entire lobby,
Yeah.
like avoiding zombies as they walk by, hiding and talking.
It's a really long one
It was
take.
a really long one
Which is
take.
hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard to coordinate and block because you have all these extras that need to walk through.
Yeah.
Shelby and I have to do our own movement. Eric has to do his movement. They have to pull focus the entire time to keep us in focus. We have to light the entire thing so we're always lit
Yeah, I think
as we move.
we showed like 260 degrees of the set,
Yep.
so putting lights in
So
there.
and then everyone had to move, like everyone had to leave that didn't need to be there. So that's originally how it went, and we talked about Shelby just said something to the effect of like, why do you even like brains? Could that even work?
Yeah.
And then I do a much longer version of what I say here. This was truncated. Like the reason that we cut in here is because you can't see my mouth moving. Because I'm not saying what you're hearing right now. This was completely after the fact, dubbed in new dialogue for myself. And the reason we cut it is again, it just kind of slowed
Slowed
things
it down.
down.
It was
was-
a long shot.
It was a long shot. It was cool, but it slowed things down.
And as
Uh,
well, it was bringing up how brains are their caloric intake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just made it same information, just in a shorter thing. Not as like artistic, but it's fine. What is art? No one cares about art, I guess. And transition.
Conceivably, you could survive
This
on
is
just
on
a
Jib.
brain
Yeah,
a day
this is a
diet.
jib shot. Oh,
Pretzel Guy!
you want to talk about Pretzel Guy?
Pretzel Guy is Dave Brown, the showrunner.
That is our showrunner, Dave Brown.
His one and only cameo.
This is his cameo.
And since it was him, they did this shot for about, I would say, 5 minutes longer than they needed to because I didn't call cut right away because this was
Yeah,
I mess with him a little bit.
he was screaming for a very long time.
It just shaking his legs.
Yep. But both of these zombies have masks on.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't be this close to him without it. Someone said, Lavi said, we're using manual autofocus. Manual focus.
Manual.
Because the focus, we can talk about that actually. Sorry, I want to talk about
We have a first AC who's constantly, she has her own little monitor set up somewhere by camera, and she's constantly just pulling focus to keep everyone sharp.
Yeah, because in some shots, it might be needed to focus on Shelby and then focus on me, who's like over her shoulder in the background. Autofocus can't do that for you. So you have to manually shift focus.
Yeah. Any cinema lens you use is usually manual focus.
Yeah, because difference between cinema lenses and like a traditional DSLR stills lens is that cinema lenses have gears on them for both f-stop, so aperture, and focus. And those gears then go into a little other toothy gear so you can remotely pull focus.
Yeah.
So what we do generally is you killed your showrunner. Yeah, physically and metaphorically. What was it when you do these scenes, like you block them before you film it, and in that blocking, whoever's pulling focus will make marks of where they need to be during the scene.
Yeah, there's
Like,
marks.
it's a very big.
There's marks for the camera. There's marks for the actors, so that's always, it's kind of like a dance.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's an art. And
autofocus is not widely used in cinema because you can't predict. Like someone could put their hand close to the lens, and focus on their hand, even though you're supposed to be focusing on the subject behind the hand.
which we actually did use autofocus on the A7S.
Yeah, on the A7S we did a little bit.
So anytime it's like really wide, you can use autofocus, but generally,
Yeah.
and Holly is a very good focus.
Holly is a very good focus. There's Dave dying.
You think the pretzel guy's stomach is in knots?
Oh, Jake.
One bite just turned me into a zombie so quickly.
That's also foreshadowing.
There's no fast zombies, so that's a plus, right?
Uh-oh. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, so we kind of ran out of time to get exactly how I
Let's
imagined
scoot back.
the fast zombie section to be. So we got a little bit of it, and then I supplemented it with CG characters running through to kind of like sell it a little bit more.
Yeah, so what you're looking at right now is not real. Yeah. This is completely CGI right there. That's CGI.
So
that's real.
So it goes from real to a close up of a CGI zombie. I think there's actually 3 of them in the background.
Those are fake.
It's believable in quick little moments. Yeah. Also, the color correction change here to the newer versions. So that's something we didn't really talk about. So the first half of this episode is kind of colored like the old,
like Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, and then right when the fast zombie section, the color correction changed to like the Zack Snyder era, more modern color correction and digital look.
Yep.
So,
let's keep going.
Jake?
Yeah, what's up, homie?
Fast zombies. They're coming to get you, Roper. Run!
So there's another section here with supplemented digital.
So this is when we get the modern Dawn of the Dead zombies.
That's on
CG.
Just to break it up, because Snyder does that kind of effect.
Oh, Izzy is singing your praises.
There's a pub up there. That should probably be a safe place.
Thanks, Izzy.
And then Remigio. Yeah, this will be uploaded once this is done.
He had never been on one of those before this.
Yeah, he crushed it. He did great with the hoverboard.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, don't run in the mall. It's dangerous.
That's my boyfriend.
Why don't you guys just run straight to the exit?
Little arm gag. So his real arm's just obviously behind his back right there.
And we couldn't make it too gory.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stop. Shelby, I am so sorry. But also
Originally, he
being
was gonna
horribly
get,
torn apart by
ripped apart,
zombies
right?
limb from limb. That takes a lot of power. Could a virus give someone that much strength? And that begs the question, how exactly does a virus work? Let's find out.
Why not make it gore bada bing? Because this is a TV
You
PG
hate to
show.
see anybody get dismembered.
Educational
especially
series.
my
You'll see that
friend and I
in a
guess
few different
Shelby's boyfriend,
areas where
Matt.
we had to really
And sure,
limit on gore.
It's a common trope in zombie movies. But can a
You're so
virus,
insensitive
zombie
to
or
Shelby's
otherwise, give you the
with
strength
my boyfriend
to
getting
do
eaten.
Yeah, well.
Do all kinds
That's what happened. Oh, you want to talk about this nightmare?
Oh yeah,
Hey, Dr. Brown.
that was a hard track.
Yeah, so
Very hard track.
let's transition. So for these scenes, we hadn't yet filmed our stuff with Dr. Brown. So I'm talking to nothing.
Yeah, it's just empty.
Just an empty
iPad
thing.
robot.
Yeah, an empty iPad robot. I'm talking to nothing. And then Eric, after we filmed it, we filmed him on a green screen remotely. He was in San Francisco because he was a doctor, or is a doctor. We couldn't safely bring him here to film with us. The original idea was he was going to be in this scene with us. But because he's a doctor, he works in ER, he didn't feel comfortable traveling here, which is totally valid. So I was like, let's just get, I apologize, it was my idea. I was like, let's get a teleconference robot. Those are funny.
Mm.
And then Eric had to digitally add him and digitally add a background into the teleconference robot.
Yeah, and the robot comes from out of focus into focus, and there was tons of reflections from the lights also in the iPad screen. So it was not a fun tracking shot. And it's still not perfect, but I think it's good enough.
When was this episode shot? This episode was shot in January of this year.
Wow.
A long time ago. Is it hard to get used to talking to nothing like this in the phone in Jurassic Park? Not really, honestly, because what's interesting is
Jake talks to nothing.
I talk to nothing all the time. I'm always talking to nothing.
Yeah.
Think about YouTube creators.
I mean, even right now, we're just
like
talking.
we're talking to nothing. Like, yes, you're there, obviously, but you're not. I'm not physically talking to you. I'm talking to a camera.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at having conversations with inanimate objects.
And it's scripted, so you have like a general script to follow.
Yeah. But let's get back into it. Dr. Brown.
Why are you a video conference robot?
Well, you know, it's a highly infectious disease taking over the planet. I just figured it was best that we weren't in the same room. But as I was saying, like, viruses impede
Nice little
normal
hidden
function.
cut there.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
because
anytime the
word
screen
virus is
glitches.
basically
that's 'cause we're hiding
poison
a cut.
in Latin.
Right. And after all, that's what it means to be sick. But the idea of a virus that makes you super fast, super
In a
smart,
bunker.
or super strong...
Giraffe Cube? No,
well,
there was
that's
nothing
science
on
fiction.
that screen. It
Okay,
was
that
just
makes
an
sense, but
empty
what about
black
rabies?
iPad
Doesn't that
screen.
turn a pooch
Dave
into some
Reading.
sort of
Yeah.
super
Dr.
strength
Brown
zombie
was.
dog?
Well, rabies is the closest thing that we have to a zombie virus. Both are spread by biting somebody. Both can cause hypersalivation or drooling. And sometimes this kind of jerky, convulsion-like movement, but
Puppers.
although it'll amplify
Also, just so
dogs'
everyone knows,
aggression,
none of this
it
footage
doesn't
is
cause
actually of
super
dogs with
strength.
rabies.
In fact, a virus
Turns out there's not a lot of
weakens
footage
its
with dogs with
host
rabies.
by using the energy to
Lexi
replicate
Violet,
itself
what up,
over and
dude?
over and over again.
Good to see you.
Good to
Thanks
know,
for
Dr.
coming.
Brown. Thank
Oh,
you.
and Isaac Thiel.
So, as
Oh
it
my
turns out,
word.
a virus wouldn't really give you super
Thanks for
strength. If
coming,
anything,
gang.
the virus would actually just weaken
It's the only
you.
time
But
I've ever
back
got
to our
a full
original
shot
question
robot.
about dismemberment.
Yes,
I forgot
what
about
happened
that.
to our friend Matt? Could you have
That
enough
face.
strength to actually tear a person
Did the doctor
apart?
set up a green screen for
Well,
you?
good
Jay, we
news.
had
have
a
this device
remote
here
camera crew go
to
to his
answer that very
apartment
question.
and set it up for him.
This 4-meter-tall truss has a winch on one side
This is fun.
and a
Yeah, this is a
stand-in
cool one.
victim on the other. Now, in between, we have a line that is rated for a pull of up to 4,500 kilograms. And then we have a dynamometer to measure the exact amount of newtons needed to tear this body
Lexi,
apart.
you're hiding in the bathroom at work.
Let's
That's
do it.
dedication. Miss you too.
The average human male
Ah,
can
there we
exert
go.
about 640 newtons when pulling on an arm, which is about
But
here.
yes, Live, to answer your question, you
Clearly, our
could do it
standing
over a
human is
long
okay.
period of time,
But
but
as the
in
force of the
zombie
pull is
movies, it's always a
increased,
quick
it's-
thing.
we start to see
It
the
instantly
tissue
happens.
and
We want to
muscle
replicate
tear.
that.
These connector muscles are viscoelastic, meaning they'll stretch a long time before tearing.
It's alright,
The
Adam.
weakest
I
part of the
forgive you.
human limb is where it meets the
It's pretty
torso.
gross.
On the arm,
And also,
it's
just
called
as a
the
reminder,
glenoid
because we don't like
And if you're
wasting
going to
food,
tear a limb from
we
a
always go to the
body,
butcher, because also it
well,
helps us
that's
save
where
money.
you would need
We'll
to
be like, what
focus.
meat are you no longer going to be able to sell? And then they give it to us, and that's what we use. So it finds life in another way.
That was
And here
disgusting.
comes my
But
favorite
also really
transition
cool. It took
of any
1.6
episode we've ever done.
kilonewtons, that is 1,600 newtons of force, to
take credit for
separate the
this.
shoulder
I want to, Lexi.
from the body. That's around 2.5 times greater than what a human
I
being
think also transitions
can generate.
to the
So,
Edgar Wright style.
in real life, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about getting dismembered by a zombie
Yeah, this
or
is the start
a
of
person.
Edgar Wright Shaun of the Dead.
Matt, however, well, best not to think about that. Shelby, gotta say, you did a great job barricading this pub. Looks
Such a
amazing.
good
Love the
transition.
initiative.
Yeah.
So this
Thank you.
pub,
Why are we even
we're going to
here?
talk about for a
Oh,
second.
because a
So-
pub.
Inside of that 30,000 empty square foot was tons of like little rooms that they used for, I think this one was like an optometrist.
Yeah, this was the
section or
optometrist's
something.
office.
So it's like literally just like a little office space that we had to turn into a pub.
Yeah, because we talked previously in another live stream about how, due to time and budget, we don't have the ability to go to different locations.
Yeah.
We need to find one location that's a catch-all that we can do everything in. So this was our pub that basically, like, the reason you don't see the full thing is because we didn't build it out fully.
Yeah, it's like 3 walls.
You can kind of see to the left there, I believe, is just black duvetine, like black curtains, because we didn't have a wall. We only had 3 walls. And actually, the back of the bar wasn't a wall at all. We just put bookshelves up and like a drape to make it seem like
a
that's
red
the
curtain,
bar. And a red curtain, yeah, which is right there.
Yeah.
Jay,
So there's a bit of a setup. So we shot this all in 2 days in a 30 square foot place, and like building this, I think they were the day before, so they had 3 days. They were there building this the day while we were shooting downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot.
I think this zombie had the most setups out of any episode so far.
Yeah.
It was. We were also ambitious. It was the first episode. We were like, yeah, we can do this.
So much stuff.
It was very, very hectic.
Jay asks a good question. Do you have any advice how to time plan your scenes for a short movie with quick edits? So yeah, because this is also, I mean, it's a style that we like. It's a style that who we're mimicking here is Edgar Wright, where the edits are always planned into the script.
Yeah.
Like you know where the cuts are going to be in the scripting process when we film it, and we do this with all of our videos regardless. When you film it, we know exactly when the cut is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's all pre-planned.
You know, interior system lab, cut to interior pub. There's always some idea of where the transition is going to be, and then we creatively figure out how we're going to get over there.
But it's also, I think, part of our. Oh, I'm going to yawn. Sorry.
Oh,
part of
too early.
I'm going to go sleep. Part of how we do our videos is that outside of system, I edit all the stuff. So when I'm writing the script, I know exactly how it's going to be in the edit because I'm the one editing it. So that's just been a great, I think, skill to have when doing this kind of stuff. You don't film too much extra, film exactly what you need, and you know exactly how it's going to go to the next scene.
And I guarantee you Edgar Wright does that, like, obsessively.
Oh,
because his transitions are amazing.
What's your favorite part about filmmaking?
Being done.
Being done. Yeah. It being done is my favorite. No, there's different parts. I like being on set, like when you're actually making it, filming it, that's really fun. Being in the edit is really fun. And then watching the completed thing with all the VFX and all the sound design and the score.
Seeing it all come together is
and
pretty
the color
satisfying.
correction is really nice.
Yeah. When it gets to color correction, that's when I get excited.
Yeah.
Because you look at it like pretty raw data for so long, and then when you finally see full edit come together, and then the color correction's like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, I wish I could show you what this looked like before color correction. It is just flat. Like, imagine it desaturated, no highlights, no contrast, no shadows, nothing.
That's shooting raw, it looks like. So you have all of the information, and you can change anything.
Roxanne, how long does editing take? Usually it was like a month. I would say in total, because we had 3 full-time editors working on the show. And I would say it was basically like a month per episode.
I believe
would be about how long it took.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like you assemble it, then you gotta send it off for notes, and then you make adjustments, then send it off for
VFX
notes.
come in.
And VFX come in. That
the
kind of changes timing, So it's a whole process. But let's get back into it with the transition.
Like filming with my drone in D-Log? Yes. Very similar to
exactly like that.
Yeah.
The pub is the safest place in the mall. Everybody knows that. Hey, I think I could get a top up on this.
This is when it is, because it was just, I think, tea.
I think it was coffee.
It was just coffee and water, you're right.
I love, there's a bunch of comments like, why didn't he grab the butcher knife?
Because I needed that for later. And also I really wanted to break a bottle.
And you wanted your Nicolas Cage to die.
I wanted my Nicolas Cage to die!
Like I said, safest
and now there's
place
just
in the
blood
mall.
on my face, nice little touch.
But why?
Oh, because they have guns over the bar, Shelby.
That is all
Okay, but
editor.
why is there even a pub in the mall?
I don't know, man. Why are there zombies all over the world? Wait, are you feeling okay? You look a little
slow-mo.
pale.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Hold on. Did you get bit?
This is digital.
No, it's just
Yep,
it's
that's
screen.
not.
That's why Mark
Oh, no,
was
you're
digital.
infected. It's spreading. We gotta stop
But
it.
it was, but we just like
Here's the main Edgar Wright transition part here. Boop, boop.
No,
Yep.
that.
Because you notice her arm looks totally different
That
now.
wouldn't even stop the spread, would it?
Actually, that is a great question.
Sugar bottle, yep.
Would
This is the
chopping
most we
off
see of the
somebody's
pub.
arm actually
Yeah,
stop the
this is-
spread of a virus? And for that matter,
That's about it.
how do you even kill a virus? Here, could you hold this for me? Thank you so much.
You're a real jerk, Jake.
Yeah.
Good thing none of that blood got in my mouth, because once a virus breaches the exterior of a body by a bite, by latching onto a mucous membrane, or by an injection,
Hamburger,
it
because I
spreads
really wanted to
throughout the body
stab
mostly via
the
blood
zombie.
circulation. So, to figure out whether the old post-bite arm chop
Let
is
me
a good
live my
strategy,
dreams, Hamburger.
we need to look at
To
how
break the
fast
glass.
blood moves through the body. Human
Ooh,
blood
that's a good
flows at an
effect.
average
Good
of
job, Eric.
1.3 to
Yeah, it's that
1.8
power
meters
mesh
per
again.
second. And of course,
Okay.
circulates even faster when you're excited.
That's
So
such a great
severing a
shot
limb
right
off isn't a viable real-world way to combat a virus, because by the time you did it, the virus would have spread throughout your body. But there are essentially 3 categories of things that kill, or at least mitigate, a virus.
Not only do I care about YouTube career,
It breaks down into
she could.
3
I've seen a lot of
categories,
people
okay?
game with only one hand.
Things that the body does itself.
She could do it.
That's your immune
Yeah, there was that
system.
cool Reddit post that
Things the
guy
body
game on his
does
Yeah,
shoulder.
it's
Yeah,
not- he was crushing it.
technological help. Those would be vaccines.
That was another
and then
horrible
things that the
tracking
body
shot
does
to do.
without the assistance of the human
you
immune
did it.
system.
Did it.
That'd be
And that's
like
what matters.
antivirals and virucides.
Your skin, saliva, and mucus are the first
Yeah, it's
line of
called
defense
Girl
to
for
battle
Reviews, not Girl
viruses.
Hand
And also,
Reviews.
when you get a fever
Alright?
from being sick, what your body is doing
know,
is
guys?
increasing the temperature
Hey, gang?
to try and kill
Hey,
said
anyone?
virus.
Is this?
Right. But by
Is this
no
thing
means
on?
are those a perfect defense. So, the next line of defense is your bloodstream.
Where antibodies created by white blood cells and lymph nodes battle the virus.
Did you make this one?
Nope.
The only problem
Good,
is
it's
that
garbage.
your immune system takes a long
Thanks.
time to figure
Would've
out
been better
how
if
to
I
make
did
these
it.
antibodies. And when you're
I don't have
battling a
enough
deadly
time.
virus, no one has a luxury of time. That's
True,
where a
Dr. Brown.
vaccine comes in.
Vaccines have typically been built around weakened or dead versions of the pathogen,
Did you film this stuff?
teaching
Yeah.
your
Did
body
you go back
how
and
to
join?
make
Back into-
antibodies,
Yeah,
so
you
it's
got your
ready if
time
it's
machine.
infected by the virus.
Hop into the
But
DeLorean.
in the fight against COVID-19,
Babies were bigger back then.
scientists have used a new type of vaccine, mRNA vaccine, which preps your immune system to battle a virus by focusing on just a little part of the
Did you
virus.
make this?
Say the spiky part on the end of the coronavirus.
Did you make anything in this episode?
Now your body only has to look for one small piece instead of the entire thing. It's honestly pretty cool.
Which leaves us with virucides, things
Oh,
that
okay.
kill
Virucides
the virus
you did do stuff for.
outside the human body. Simple everyday items
Yeah, you
like
did.
soap and copper
The
are
soap-
highly
Oh, the soap and
effective
water.
in
Yeah, yeah.
killing
Sure.
or mitigating
Sure.
viruses.
All right.
Important
This is
because
quite
the
difficult
molecules
to
are kind
make
of
because,
pin-shaped, and the round
there's
head
not a lot of information
is
about
hydrophilic,
what
that
this
is
looks like.
water-loving, while the long tail
I
is
had to use some
hydrophobic,
artistic
water-hating.
licensing here.
Oil and
That's why
water
you're an
usually
artist.
don't
Like
mix.
this. This doesn't really.
But what happens if we add soap?
Ooh, what happens?
Pins of
Show
soap
me, Eric.
molecules surround
Oh,
the
there we
oil
go.
particles and rip them apart as the tail latches
Ooh.
onto the fats
Look at that nice
in the
little
oil.
cutout.
And since viruses are just packets
So
of
this is
DNA
Eric.
surrounded
That's all
by an
Eric.
envelope
He's a
made
pro.
of proteins and lipids, that is fats.
Yeah, a lot of these
the same thing
scientific
happens to
explainers
that
are
outer envelope of virus
can be pretty
when you
difficult.
attack it with
Because you have to
soap.
be right.
Well, yeah, you gotta be
All
right.
buddy.
You gotta
I
visualize
gotta go
it.
back to the pub, check on Shelby.
This-
You
this
can
transition.
still cut her
You see
arm
the
off,
pool
then
in
her
the
and Matt
background.
will
Oh, yeah.
match.
Oh yeah, this
All right, I'm
transition.
gonna go.
I screenshot of that.
Good news, Shelby. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no!
This isn't good, but we can fix this.
Ooh, nice digital effect there. So that. Let's actually talk about this for a second.
Yeah. We didn't have money for stunts.
Yep.
So we're like, how is she gonna get pulled out of this window? We had to come up with like kind of a, because that's obviously not a window she's behind. That's just I think
That's
plexiglass.
plexiglass, yeah.
Yeah. With some light shining through it. So we had to come up with a creative solution to have her get pulled out. So my suggestion was to just film her profile, have hands come in with glass, and just pull her out of frame to insinuate that she's getting pulled out the window.
But that's what this is. So the hands coming in, they're just holding this fake glass. It's plastic.
Yeah.
They're holding this in their hand, and when their hands come in, they're just throwing it to make it look like they broke through glass.
Yeah.
But there was no glass ever. And then they just pull her out of frame. They're not actually pulling her anywhere.
Yeah.
We just marked where she'd be out of frame. They just pull her right out of frame.
Yeah.
But it looks really effective. Like, it honestly looks like they broke through the glass.
This.
Just people throwing
Yeah.
plastic.
This is one of my favorite lines of yours.
You're handsome. You can do this, Jake.
Bill Murray
Bill
zombie.
Murray zombie. Yeah, we'll have to go through all the different zombies.
So I'm a little sad because our original shot of the whip over to you holding the guns, which comes in a second, was a one shot.
Yeah.
They come in through the window and they lift up into frame, and it looks so. The lighting was amazing. It was so cool, and we whipped over to you, but Shelby wasn't in makeup yet,
Yep.
so we had to reshoot this section. But
So let's see who we have here. We got Bub Zombie in the background, wearing a face mask, which you can see in this.
Can you?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
see the face mask he's
Yeah.
wearing. Then we got right here is Bill Murray zombie from Zombieland. Then we have Thriller zombie right here.
Where are the references?
We have.
Oh, that's the record girl from.
Oh yeah, we got the record zombie from Shaun of the Dead over there.
I think that's just general.
And we do have a Train to Busan zombie somewhere. I just can't see her.
Oh yeah. She was
There is
in
a
a
Train to
deleted
Busan
scene.
Yeah, there was a Train to Busan. I think he's a Train to Busan zombie as well.
The Tula zombie looks great.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
I had to change your eyes on that too.
Yep, that is also digitalized.
Come get some.
Oh, curse you, mall pub. Who's my Deus Ex Machina?
The longest
Yeah.
bar. So
That is-
this,
oh my god,
this is just a bit of wood on top of a platform
on a bunch of apple boxes.
on a bunch of apple boxes.
There was no
room.
There was no room in this pub for this thing. It was so tight.
So this shot,
This is
we're just gonna go through it.
a nightmare.
This one, I am just laying flat on the ground, shoving my arm up to get there because there was probably maybe like
Oh my god.
6 inches between this and the ground, so I just had to shuffle my body under there.
There was a bunch of screws poking out from
Yep.
the backside too, and then I had to come full standing. This is with a huge camera that weighs like, I don't know, 40 or 50 pounds, and then go from full standing to crouching almost to the ground to catch Jake closing this thing.
Mikhail, why in a bar? Mikhail, everyone knows a bar is the safest place in the mall. All right, let's just see
That's a
that.
cool shot.
This is a cool shot.
Ugh. And that's when it made me mad.
Yep.
So this is on the A7S. This is on a much smaller DSLR camera with a handheld gimbal. I think it's pretty cool.
No, it looks good.
And those are fake
And
zombies
those
there.
are all fake zombies right there. None of those people are real. That's all fake. But luckily, I look back, which makes you kind of feel like there's actually people there.
A little sound design too. We did a second shot of this where we're full out running, but there was a mistake in there, so we didn't use it.
Oh, this is also fake. Our little umbrella reference, Resident Evil in there. And then this shot, that's not real. That is all fake.
I mean, look how big that guy's wristwatch is, like the size of your head. but
Maybe he's into really big watches. Some people wear big watches.
the perspective's a little off, but I think
That's fake.
this shot.
So here's a funny thing.
So this is
That
in the
store
mall after it closed.
Literally sells zero.
It's the last shot we did.
So let's just scoot back down to this. We had a lot more stuff. So we have our crowbar there. We got the records. That's Shaun of the Dead. We got the cricket bat, Shaun of the Dead. The baseball bat from Walking Dead. And originally, we also had a lawnmower. We had a full lawnmower that I was going to have too. The lawnmower was our Dead Alive reference. And then we also had a sawed-off 2-barrel shotgun, which was going to be our Evil Dead reference. But it turned out I only had 2 hands.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do all that. And the chainsaw, because I couldn't carry it all with the chainsaw, that's why the chainsaw just appears.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that gag.
Yeah.
Because there's no chainsaw.
That
You can't
store
see it, but someone just puts
literally
the
sells
chainsaw into
zero
place right now.
Umbrellas. But
It's true
I
pyro
think
isn't actually
this
one. And I have a
should work.
chainsaw.
No
And
blade.
No
Guess
blade
we
on-
couldn't have it because it's back in the mall.
Oh, and then
Thanks for
Eric's favorite
watching.
shot.
Yeah, we can go through this.
2 things I actually want to point out real quick. One thing I want to point out, then we'll show the rest shot, is if you look right here, we kind of blacked it out in the online in the color grade, but that's the mall pub.
Yeah.
We filmed right next to it. We didn't realize until after we filmed it. They're like, oh, you can still see the pub mall
Pub mall.
sign, mall.
So yeah, this is on a Jib, and it was very. It's difficult.
Well, let's show this shot and we'll talk about how you did it. All right. So you want to talk about what this looked like when we filmed it?
Sure. Well, first of all, there's tons and tons of windows that have reflections in the shot. So if we go back to the beginning, we actually got flagged for some of this from quality control, but you can see the jib arm there. But here you can literally see all of our lighting, everything. So I had to replace a bunch of windows to hide all of our reflections. So like that, this window here is completely replaced. And then what this originally looked like was a bunch of kiosks, because in malls they have a bunch of kiosks in the middle that go all the way down to the back. I had to remove that, put my own ground in, and then put in, I think there's 100,000, maybe 10,000. No, it might be like, I think it might be 50. It's somewhere between 50 and 100,000 zombies there.
Wait, 50 and 100,000?
Yeah, 50,000 to
50,000 to 100,000 zombies. Okay.
Yes. And one thing Cinema 4D, which is where I made this, and is not very good at, is crowd simulation. So I had to basically get about 35 zombies, alternate their clothes. So I think there was like 50 to 75 different looking zombies. And then I used a motion capture site called Mixamo for the general zombie animations, which is helpful, but it doesn't sell it. Like you gotta really make things change subtly from each one to each one, so it looks like a crowd, so they're not all doing the same movement. And then the main guys in the forefront, I bought like a Unreal zombie pack for video games. But
so Mikhail asked, wouldn't it be easier to have a green screen behind all the zombies?
Yep, could have been. It was going to be a total visual effects shot anyways, so I didn't mind just replacing everything.
Yeah, because
it really wasn't that. That was not the hard part. The hard part was making, the 100,000 zombie horde.
Yeah, it's very important just to reiterate that every zombie in this shot is not real. There is not a real character besides me in this shot. This is all fake.
If it weren't for COVID, we would probably had a bunch in the front and then replace them backwards.
Yeah, that was the original idea.
Since COVID happened, we couldn't have that many people on set, which is why it's all digital.
Yep.
So yeah, it was fun. It took me about a week.
But it looks great.
Thanks.
It looks really good.
I've never used motion capture before, so I think it sold it.
I mean, it looks real to me.
This season on System.
Oh no. Come get some.
Let's make me hypothermic. Tear this body apart.
Oh, the need for speed.
I don't think you're going to survive this one.
You think you survived that zombie horde?
No, not at all. I would 100% die. Vic's question requires your attention. Let's go there. Oh, why do they generally film things not in order? Usually it's for time and budget.
Yeah.
Is generally why you don't do it. So, for example...
And just logistical.
Let's take the zombie episode. We couldn't film in the mall proper until the mall had closed, which was after 6 p.m.
It was an active mall.
But we need to film other stuff before that happens. So we'd film all the stuff in the abandoned Sears, like the intro, that kind of stuff.
The pub was still being
built.
Pub. Yeah.
And then when the mall was closed, then we'd go out and do like the toy store where I'm talking and I meet Shelby, or the end shot, or the shots of just the zombies walking around. So we'd film everything else and then get the shots that we had to schedule for later. Or like Shelby, as Eric mentioned, with that one shot in the pub, her makeup wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting, instead of the whole production shutting down, everyone just losing time, while
shot.
She's getting makeup, we just do other shots that she doesn't have to be in for. And then we bring her in and shoot her scenes. But that's usually how you do it. It's because of just time and logistics is why you generally don't film things in order. Yeah. Some people will. To your point, you're like, isn't it hard for the actors to keep continuity? That's why you have like a script supervisor.
Yeah.
And that's why you also have a director who works with the actor. Be like, okay, so this is the continuation of the scene we filmed 2 months ago.
Right.
But this is how you were. This is how you were acting. This is the look. Yeah. And you have continuity people who also make sure that what they were wearing or what their makeup looked like or their hair looked like matches exactly how it was when they filmed it a day ago or a week ago.
Yeah, it can be hard, but I mean, there's people's jobs who literally are that. It's to make sure everything is in line.
Availability also affects who, or that is true. Like with some talent, they might not be available. It's all like doing a production is all about balancing schedules.
Yeah.
So for a big one with a lot of talent like Harry Potter, we might only have Casey for this one day at this one time. Yeah. So we know that we have to film his scene that day at that time. Yeah. And then we got to reschedule things for the next day because maybe now Derek's available for that other day. So we'll film him that other day. So you're just always adjusting. Joss asks, when do you think a score is good or bad in a movie? My general feeling is the score should always accentuate or enhance what you're visually seeing, it shouldn't take away from it or it shouldn't overpower it, unless there's a specific purpose. So like for our science beats, I always use classical music because I just think it's fun. It's a nice juxtaposition to like the horror that you're watching with your eyes. But for these scenes, like when it's more narrative, it should be there just to enhance what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and add an extra layer to it.
Yep.
And
that end song was a ripoff of Down with the Sickness, wasn't
yes,
it?
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
obviously we couldn't get the rights to Down with Sickness, but we did a sound-alike version.
Yes, clapperboards making audio sync much easier. That is true, Dolphin Arena. Because anytime when you're on a large production like this, you know, when you're filming yourself, like I'll show you, like when I film my vlog myself.
Oh, you just had that there?
I always have it. You know, the audio goes directly into the camera, so it records it alongside the video in tandem. When you're recording...
That's the camera we shot that hallway scene on.
Yeah.
And a few other things in the series.
But when you're recording audio in this regard, the camera isn't recording audio. It's recording scratch audio, so you have something to go off of, but the audio is being recorded to a completely separate device.
Yeah.
So it is separated from the video. So when you get into the edit, you have to combine the two. And the way you do that is with a slate. So that clapperboard that you see, it has two functions. One is to give you that audio cue of the... The other one is that there's a rolling time code on it, usually. And the time code is synced with the audio and the video, so they're at the same exact time code, even though they're being recorded separately.
Yeah, shout out to Chad the editor to kill this. Chad's such a good editor. Did such a good job on this episode. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, Chad, you did a great job. Mikhail was the movie edited in Adobe Premiere Pro. This show is edited in Avid. Avad is what it's edited in.
Yeah. It's kind of the industry standard
Which is
for like production houses.
why Eric and I don't touch the edit too much. If it was Premiere Pro, I'd be probably editing a lot myself.
Yeah.
But because it's Avid and I don't really know how to use Avid that well, we have Avid editors edit it.
Yeah, it's similar but different.
What was the hardest part in making the System Zombie video?
Time.
Yeah, time. I would say for me, I think our answer is going to be different.
Yeah.
For me, it was the time. We were so crunched for time as we always are. And then just the amount of extras. I was very nervous about that. If we just had to keep reusing, so it'd be really smart. Like we would pre-plan what zombies we would see when to make it look like we had more zombies.
And they went through a change at some point too.
Yeah, they also went through a change, but it was just
there was more
changing clothes, not changing the makeup.
Yeah,
because we didn't have time for that. But for you, I imagine it was the horde, the zombie horde.
If you're talking about post, yes, the horde zombie took a very long time because I've never used motion capture or tried to make 100,000 crowd. Which Cinema 4D is not built for, but I kind of hacked it to make it work.
And it looks good.
Thanks.
Why not use Premiere then? So when you're working at a production of this level, you generally have a server. Because we have, I don't even know how many terabytes. How many terabytes do you think this season was?
I had 30 myself, and that wasn't all of the footage.
So probably like 60 terabytes or so?
Between 30
Yeah,
sure. It was a lot.
It was a lot of terabytes. So it generally lives on a server. Yeah. And when you are ingrained in a certain software, so like their server is built for Avid.
Yeah.
They would have to completely change everything if they wanted to do Premiere.
Yeah, and a lot of production houses use Avid because that's been the industry standard for forever.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's why they use Avid.
Oh, Vix talks about Houdini. Well, Eric did Houdini for particle effects, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, crowd simulation for Houdini. Yes, I wanted to do that, but I would say novice level Houdini artist. I just started using it so before I actually started shooting. I spent about 5 months learning Houdini, and I mainly did it for smoke, fire, and particle effects. And I didn't really focus on crowd simulation. I know it does a really good job, but it would have taken me so long to figure out how to do it. And I could kind of make it work in Cinema 4D, so that's why we did that. I would love to use Houdini for it, yeah.
Let's see. What was the easiest part in the making?
Showing up to set.
Yeah, showing up. The easiest part for this episode, I think, was honestly working with Shelby and Matt. They were really, really good.
Yeah. Shelby and Matt did a great job.
Yeah. They definitely have theater and performing experience. Yeah. So they were really, really good. It was a real joy working with them.
Everyone's life easier when the talent is easy to work with, for sure.
Roxanne, what was your favorite part in the video? The entire pub scene That whole section is my favorite part in this episode.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, it's fun.
This
Just
is
a fun,
really
one.
Yeah. What other questions we got, gang?
5 months the dedication. Yeah, well, I want to make sure it looked good.
Yeah, because it lives forever.
Yeah.
Mikhail, who comes up with the ideas that are in the scenes? We do in writing. It's generally.
Yeah.
And then there's things that happen, like, I know specifically that one line where I'm like, you can do this, you're strong, you're handsome. I'm like, you're strong, you're handsome.
But not set.
That was just made up.
Yeah.
You know, there's some improv that always happens.
Well, then a lot of the camera direction and like small things that happen in the scene will come up doing the shot list like the week before.
Yeah. So like the basic process is once we have the script finalized and it's all approved, then every department goes through it. So like art will have to go through it and be like, okay, say they need guns.
Right.
They need beer bottles. They need all these things. Like, oh, we're in a bar. We have to start sourcing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then costume and wardrobe will do the same thing. We're like, oh, it's an apocalypse. And in the script, we usually describe like what the characters are wearing, so we can find that.
Yep.
And then after that, Eric and I go through the entire script and break it down scene by scene. And then within the scene, do all the shots. Like, so we break
Crane comes up over the top of Jake
Yep.
and Shelby, goes to see the pretzel guy. Like, that's all written out beforehand.
So we know exactly what the camera move is going to be if there is one. We generally know like what kind of lens we're going to use. We know if it's going to be a slow-mo shot or a regular motion shot before we actually get to set and film it. But then once you're on set, things always change. You just have to quickly adapt and work with it.
Yep.
Was the director paid by a lobbyist? I don't think we were paid by a lobbyist. So no. No, we weren't. How many drafts do you usually go through in writing scenes? It depends on the episode.
Yeah.
Things like Jurassic Park and Harry Potter had a lot of revisions.
Well, especially due to location and like anytime something big changes within like locations or actors and stuff like that, you have to adjust the script, so there could be a lot of changes.
Yeah, so there's that, and then Zombies was originally going to be about a specific movie, and then I kind of argued that I'd rather it be just about a general overall genre of zombies.
Which I think is fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun too. Let's see, what was it? Oh, was the alcohol in the pub real? Yeah, I was blasted. No, that was, as Eric said earlier, it was just water and coffee.
Yeah,
is what I was drinking. Do you get along with the director?
Do you get along with the director, Jake?
Yeah.
I kind of get along with him.
Real. Yes, we get along with ourselves very well, I think.
If you didn't get that, Jake is the director.
Do you consider audio or video to be more important for a project?
Oof, that's tough because audio plays such a huge role.
I mean, that's the thing. They're, to me, equally as important.
Yeah, they gotta mirror each other. They gotta go hand in hand. Because like the weird thing for me is, so when I do a visual effects, there's no sound design. So like Quiet Place, I made all the creatures like roaring and stuff, but I didn't know what they sounded like. I had no idea. And then when you see them with sound design, it's like, oh, it feels real. I think it's a huge part to making any film feel big and real.
But the sound is, sound is kind of an unsung hero of film.
It's
where sound is important because if you have bad sound, it doesn't matter how good the footage looks.
Yeah.
You have bad sound, it's distracting.
Yep.
And if you have good sound, you don't notice that you had good sound. That's the beauty and kind of the sad part about being a sound designer is if you do a really good job, nobody notices that you did a good job because it just sounds like it should sound.
Yeah. Jay, shout out to Jay.
Jay's great.
Yeah, he is.
Was Zombieland a reference in the making as well? Yes, it was. That's why we have the Bill Murray zombie.
Yep.
What is the best zombie movie of all time?
It's a tough one.
This is why we did this genre, because I think I have a favorite one. Eric has a favorite one. I think we have two different favorite ones.
Most likely.
But everyone, I think, has a different favorite zombie movie. Like, there's no one defining... Because you say, oh, Night of the Living Dead, that's what really spurred the genre, but what is, like, your favorite one? It's difficult. My personal favorite zombie film would be the Dawn of the Dead, the original one, is my favorite one. What's your favorite one?
So I'd actually never seen it until we did this, and I did research on all of them, and I watched it. I was like, yeah, it's good.
How dare you?
It's
Well, you got to watch the European cut.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah,
Come on.
that one. Shaun of the Dead is my favorite.
Shaun of the Dead? That's a good one.
I think I just love the movie. I could rewatch it a million times. It's so good.
Ooh, a duck with a YouTube channel. How many references did you include in total? The ones I know off the top of my head, there's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead original, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead remake. The Dead Alive reference got cut out. That was going to be the lawnmower. There's an Evil Dead, 2 Evil Dead references, 28 Days Later reference.
The Walking Dead, you say that already?
Walking Dead reference. Shaun of the Dead.
Keegan Bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what else was there? Oh, there's Resident Evil. Thriller reference, Train to Busan reference.
That's a lot of references.
And I think that might be
I think
it.
that's it. Yeah. I think
Am I
that's all.
forgetting anything? I think that's it. I think that was it.
Shaun of the Dead.
Sean O'Neill, Jesus Christ, that guy is handsome. He's talking about you.
I think so.
No, he's not talking about me. He's talking about you.
28 weeks later, 28 days later, I think
20
is
days
the
later.
better one. Yeah, that was my second.
Explanation of the Umbrella reference. Yes. The Umbrella Co.
Yeah.
is the evil people in the Resident Evil series who create the T-virus. So that is why we have...
That's what it's called, the T-virus.
Yeah, that's why we have the Umbrella Co. there. Shelby brings it up, then I come out of it, and that's where I get all the weapons, and I'm like, they don't even sell umbrellas. How do you prepare for the movies you do? Do you watch them over and over? Yep.
Oh, I kind of this season was bad, but the first season of System, I watched those movies so many times that I do not like them anymore, which is a shame because some of my favorite movies.
Did you ever consider having each episode match the aspect ratio of the movie?
Oh,
Dolphin, we did that the first season.
Yeah, we actually shot on the same lenses.
Yep.
Aspect ratio wise.
So if it was shot anamorphic, we shot anamorphic.
Yeah.
We did that the first season.
It's
and it was not enjoyable.
No.
Because the other issue is even though the YouTube player will adjust to different aspect ratios,
really cool.
it broke some of YouTube's features. It turns out that end cards are not compatible with something shot in anamorphic.
Yeah.
So this season it was a conscious decision not to do that.
Yeah.
Because it just made things a lot harder. It
yeah,
was
so
fun.
If you go back and watch season 1, you'll see some of them, especially if you're on your iPhone or a really widescreen monitor, you'll see how it'll stretch really far and be the right aspect ratio all the time.
Ooh, Max, do you have a zombie show or movie that you recommend? Just watch lots of one that I would recommend. I mean, there's lists. You can't go wrong in too many things. I would say one that a lot of people haven't seen that I really enjoy is called Dead Set, and that is a limited series from the UK. I think the BBC did it, or maybe it was Sky. But that was created maybe 10, 15 years ago. It was done by the guy who did Black Mirror, Charlie
really?
Brooker.
What?
Yeah.
How do I not know about
Dead Set. Really, really good.
Yeah.
It might still be on Netflix. But basically the plot is, so I'm just going to sell you on it. You know Big Brother, that show?
Yeah.
So basically it's Big Brother, but while those people are in Big Brother, a zombie apocalypse happens in the real world outside of them, but they don't know about it because they're on Big Brother.
That's kind of awesome.
That's the basic plot.
I think you told me about this, actually, yeah.
Why wasn't the ending directed at the camera? Because I didn't want it to be, is the easy answer. I thought it was cool to start it and then turn and then kind of just say, as I move into the next
final
thing.
moments. Yeah. Apparently, in Mythbusters did a thing with the people were saying the chainsaw that it would actually get stuck on clothing instantly, which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, oh, so Jake probably definitely died.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna be able to beat 50,000 zombies. I'd be so tired. I'd be like, I sleep now.
28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 days.
20 days later, overall, 28 weeks later, the intro's
amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, agreed.
I remember seeing that in theaters and be like, this is going to be so good. And then it just kind of kept going. And I was like, oh, well, yeah.
It wasn't Danny Boyle the second one, right?
Danny Boyle, I don't think directed the second one, no. Anyone feel like his acting voice and his live stream voice are different? They are. To a degree.
Yeah, I mean, your acting voice is just a hyped up version of your...
Yeah, it's just a more excited version of how I usually speak. But what is speaking? Well, speaking comes from the Latin term speakotis, which means to speakotis. That's a lie.
What?
That's called acting. I don't have a mustache to twirl, but if I did.
Yeah.
Are there any other movies that you are working on? Not currently.
No.
Gotta wait till season 3, my dudes. Ooh, Dolphin Arena. Is it difficult working with such high-resolution footage, or were proxies able to save the day?
All the editors worked from proxies. I worked with the raw AK footage. Very difficult to work with. Luckily, I have a very, very good computer that can handle AK. But even just tracking and a lot of screen replacement stuff, it's time consuming with AK footage. It's just some things are so slow. There's just so much information. I mean, one clip of a shot can be a terabyte, which is a lot of data.
But yeah, for the edits though, we use proxies.
Yeah.
And then when it gets into the online, which is the term that we use for color correction, then it goes to the high res masters.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it.
Did we notice any mistakes in the final release that we didn't originally see before uploading? No. This thing goes through so many sets of eyes and a quality control. So there's literally a separate company that watches it and looks for any errors. So no.
Isaac, is the system poster still a thing? It might be. Still working. I'm just concerned that no one would actually buy it because you just buy the movie's poster.
This is for the director. Who's the director? He's the director. How hard is it to make Jake agree with your point of view when you argue with him? You and I direct and co-direct pretty well. I mean, we never really argue that much about anything. I think we have very similar styles and understanding each other's.
I generally agree with myself.
Jake agrees with himself all the time.
So
yeah,
that's not too bad. What advice would you give a person who wants to do filmmaking in the future? Get ready for a long, hard path.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to be, unless you're very lucky. I shouldn't say never. Unless you're very lucky, you're never immediately going to be a director. I think the most sensible thing to do is to start working just on sets as a PA, as a grip, just something.
Yeah.
Get to know people, get to know how the set is run, and then keep working your way up and just do projects on the side.
Yeah, you're going to have to work really hard to get somewhere you want to be. It takes a lot of hours, takes a lot of dedication. I mean, the people who are on film sets give a lot of their life, I guess, to be there.
Oh, yeah.
It is not an easy job. It's, very time consuming. But just getting your foot in the door is the biggest thing, getting on sets.
There was a good
film school can help too.
Where'd you go? J.O. I liked Maximum Overdrive. Maximum Overdrive, I have always wanted to do, it doesn't have to be a system episode, but I've always wanted to see if a soda vending machine could actually kill you. Could it shoot out a Coca-Cola can fast enough
I feel like something missed
to kill you?
Yeah.
I want to know that.
I'm sure. Yeah. Could you survive the Matrix? Yeah. If we had the budget, I would.
Could you survive the Matrix? Yeah, I would love to do Matrix. Maybe season 3 with the new Matrix coming out. I would love to do the Matrix. Bullet time. I want to see if I can actually dodge bullets.
Yeah.
I'll have Eric shoot at me with a gun. See if I can dodge them.
We shoot an AK and send out in 4 on YouTube because with AK you have a lot of area to rescale, zoom into shots. And also, it's just, when you go from AK to 4K, it looks super crisp and really, really nice.
So crisp.
So crisp.
We actually talk about it in Could You Survive Mad Max?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, don't forget tomorrow, my friends, is the last episode of Could You Survive the Movie Season 2. It's the very last one.
So sad.
It is so sad. Sad. It is Could You Survive Titanic?
It's a fun one.
Fun.
Given the set, the 30,000 empty square foot mall was nothing compared to.
Oh yeah. Well, it was fun outside of the hypothermia.
Oh yeah.
That's yeah. But Titanic comes out tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST, and then we will be doing our very last live stream. The tears, they're just not coming.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday will be our very last live stream at 1 p.m. PST.
Yep.
But I think that is all the time we have for. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's been fun. Don't forget, tomorrow, Could You Survive Titanic comes out, and the behind the scenes. If you haven't watched any of the other 5 episodes that are currently out, well, they're on the channel, so go check them out. There's also 5 behind the scenes as well, plus a director's commentary for each one. That is a lot of content. I know people are like, Jake, you don't make enough videos. It's like, well, I just released 18 in a month and a half.
Yeah.
So there you go, making up for it as best I can. But thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Check out tomorrow Titanic. We'll see you next week at Wednesday, 1 p.m. PST. And what's my sign off? I forgot. I was going to do my personal channel sign off.
No, the other one.
And as always,
thanks for watching.
Okay, transition. Goodbye.